So here we are again, doing another video today, and I was thinking about what am I going to talk about today? And I am going to try to explain to you what the raw file format is and why it's important to me and why you may want to consider always shooting in it. So stick around. So if you've been following along online, Eric and I have been posting pictures for, it's got to be going on 5 years now, maybe longer. Over the course of those 5 years, our skill set has changed as far as the photography end of it, but more, the editing has we've really gotten better as editors. The file format that we shoot in our cameras, and one of the best pieces of advice that Eric ever gave me was, I bought his old camera, his Canon 5D, and he said to me, shoot in RAW, and I didn't even know what he was talking about. But he explained to me what it was, told me why I wanted to do that, and ever since then, that's how I've been shooting. I've never had my camera set to JPEG. I don't use it. I shoot RAW all the time. There's a difference in your camera. RAW files are what your camera sees. It captures all the information that's on your sensor, and when you take it into the computer, you have all of that information to work with. A JPEG actually edits the picture for you in camera. It adds contrast, brightness, saturation, sharpening, all of that stuff inside the camera. It compresses the file. You lose a lot of the information, and then that is what's on your memory card, and you put it into your computer. That's a finished file. You can upload that, you can print it, you can do whatever you want with it, but you don't have as much room to edit it if you put it in there. You can make adjustments to it, but the dynamic range has been just compressed down, so you're not going to have room to maneuver in your photos. I've always shot RAW, and the reason is because, you know, as long as I get my settings right in the camera and the images are sharp, and it's not super overexposed or very, very underexposed, I'm going to have the tools, like the raw tools to work with, to create the images that I want to, without the camera deciding for me what I want to do. I made this little video before, so check this out. I went into my computer. Now, I took a picture from 2013. Now, the first part of this that you're looking at is the edited image that I did in 2013. This was from Christmas down in Walt Disney World. Then I re-edited it today. I re-edited this today, and you can see the difference. Now, I didn't do anything. This took me an extra 30 seconds to edit it a little bit better because I'm more familiar and I have a different process when I do that. And then the last part here, this is what the image looked like straight out of the camera. That's an example of going back and revisiting something that you maybe shot a while ago. Now, if this was a JPEG, I would not be able to go back in there and reset the image down to the way the camera saw it, like in that last part, and start over. So because I shot in RAW, and Lightroom is a non-destructive editing program, I can go back to these images as many times as I want, whenever I want, and re-edit them. Another case is a couple of years ago, we went up to Lake Seneca in New York, and we were shooting waterfalls. And I had this like fall foliage editing style I was going for, where I made everything very red. And now I don't like it. So if you look in these images here, you can see that I made the leaves very red, and it's got a very red, almost not real looking, in my opinion now, a couple of years later. So I wouldn't edit this like that. So if I wanted to, I could go right back into the computer and just, zero it back down to the way the camera, took the image and start over. And that's great. So getting back to, if you've been following us online, every holiday season, we like to post our Disney images of the parks during the holidays. Now we shoot other things, but we're primarily known for our Disney photography, and these holiday images people love. Now, I'm not going to be down in Walt Disney World again this holiday season, and I wasn't down there last holiday season. I have no new images to work with. So what I'm going to do to challenge myself and to put some fresh images out there is I'm actually going to go in, pull out maybe 100, 150 images from the 3 or 4 times I have been in Walt Disney World during Christmas, and I'm going to make a separate folder. I'm going to make copies of them, and I'm just going to re-edit all of them and post them. And they'll be fresh to me, fresh to the people viewing them online. And the reason I can do this is because I shot them in the raw file format. Now, there are times when you might want to use JPEG. When? Okay, so sports shooters. So if you're shooting fast-moving action and you need to fire off a bunch of shots all at once, the raw file is a much bigger file than a JPEG file, and it's going to slow down your camera. So as you're taking those rapid bursts, your buffer in your camera is going to fill up, and it's actually going to stop shooting because it has to record to the memory card as you're shooting. If you shoot sports photography in JPEG, really fast-moving action, you'll be able to capture more images in a row quickly. The key to this is, though, you're going to try to get your exposure right. And if you're in a sports venue or someplace with a consistent lighting, that might not be so hard, and you may not have to do that much editing. That's a situation where JPEG may be more advantageous, but for most other applications, I would say you're better off shooting in RAW. What Eric and I do is primarily landscape photography. We do it in the Walt Disney World parks, but the bulk of our photography is of static things where we have time to, compose our shot, and we want to get the most dynamic range we can out of these shots. So we'll sometimes combine multiple images, to even expand it even further. But the raw images give us so much more room to open up shadows and bring down highlights and, bring back, areas that look blown out in image, but they're really not. A JPEG would not let us do that. So that's one of the reasons we really use it. And if you've ever tried editing a raw file, you know exactly what I mean. You can raise the exposure 2 stops, 3 stops, and be perfectly fine with it. So when you're looking at the back of your camera, you're going to have settings, and it's going to ask you what quality do you want to shoot your images in. It'll have fine, it'll have JPEG, and then it'll have JPEG fine, JPEG, I forget how it is, but each one's a little bit different. And then they're going to have raw, and that'll be the last one. And that's the one you're going to want to set it at. Now, if for some reason you need to move files quickly, if your camera lets you transfer things via Wi-Fi, you might want to shoot in RAW and JPEG, and that option is in there. So what will happen is your camera will shoot the raw image, save that, and then you'll also get a JPEG where the camera has done a little bit of editing to it. It's going to look better than the raw file. The raw file is going to look flat. It's going to look non-contrasty. It's going to have a very dull look to it. But you'll have that to work with later. And if you want to get a picture off quick, maybe for a client, you want to show them something right away, or whatever the reason may be that you want to post something online quickly, whatever it is, you can have that JPEG and use that, immediately. So I'm just going to throw a couple of examples of before, like the raw image and then the edited image, just so you can get an idea of what you can do to a picture, when you capture it, and how you can really transform images when you have all the information that your camera captures. These cameras are very powerful. These sensors see everything. They see in the dark. So a lot of times there's information in there and detail that you're going to lose if you let the camera process it for you. So I'm just going to run a few images in the background here, and you can see what I'm talking about. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments, because when we make these videos, we're never really sure what questions you may have. So we'd be happy to answer them. And everybody has different situations, different shooting styles, different subjects. So you may have a specific question that I'm not addressing here. So don't be afraid to ask. Click like if you like the videos, and please subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and click that little notification bell. It'll let you know every time we upload a new video, and we will see you in the next one.